Um, the practice of medicine has gotten much more difficult over the last 5 or 10 years, and it's a lot tighter margins, a lot more competition, a lot more regulatory things that go on that make it harder and harder to practice and harder to make a profit. And as physicians, we've all sort of grown up, oh, well, you don't have to advertise, you don't have to market, you just, you go to medical school, you get all these plaques on the wall, and you hang your shingle, and the patients will come. And those days are over. And if you want to succeed, you have to market yourself, you have to brand yourself, you have to advertise, you have to have that process going on. And I know from my own experience, I thought that I kind of knew how to do that, but I know now that I've worked with npMD for a few months that I had no clue. And they want me to spend all that money. And in 2 months, it's paid for itself 3, 4, 5 times over. And the return on investment has been astounding, and we're still on the launch pad. And so there's so many initiatives we haven't even done yet. Nobody knows what they're doing. They have to do it with someone that has passion, and that's going to be a partner with them, and really believe in their practice, and have a passion for their practice, and understand their practice, understand the doctor, understand their goals, understand their competition. And I can't think of anybody better than npMD. And you don't have to be in their geographic area. I mean, we work on conference calls and online meetings, and it works fantastic. And I would recommend npMD to any physician looking to build their practice.
Well, I just had a thought that you talked about the
look that you're trying to portray is different, and I think a lot of marketing firms are focused on typical commercial businesses, but physicians' practices are different than that. It is a business, but it's also very people-oriented, and it's medical. It's dealing with people's health, and I think that retaining a marketing outfit that has specific passion and knowledge about the medical field is critical if a medical practice wants to see the kind of success that they're after and that I achieved.
Please.
I've been in practice for a long time, and I've hired all sorts of people and companies to do different things for me, including in marketing and advertising and business and all sorts of different activities that it takes to run a business. And you hire them, and they send you an invoice, and you pay the invoice, and they do their thing or they don't do their thing, and they're kind of not a sideshow, but they're basically a service provider, and that's the extent of the relationship. And maybe they do a great job, but that's what they are. I was taken. I mean, as I developed a relationship with npMD, I realized. Well, I met Zach Wright at a marketing conference a few years ago, and he spoke at that conference, and I was very taken with the material that he presented, and I was struck by his enthusiasm, his energy, and his passion for what he does, and he stayed in my mind, and over the coming months I ultimately called him to do some work for me, specifically in terms of training staff. I was having challenges with the way the phones were being answered, and how that was impacting converting phone calls to patients for me. And so Zach came out, and he spent time with my staff and went through a lot of protocols with them and training, and I gained a lot of trust from Zach as a result of that. And he stayed on top of my staff, and he stayed on top of me, and he stayed in touch with me, even though our engagement was very narrow at that time. But then over the next year or so, a number of issues would always come up, and he was always there. I mean, I just would call him, and he would just talk. I hadn't hired him for anything, but we stayed in touch, and he just always, I sensed in Zach a real that he cared, and that he could be trusted, and that he had my interest at heart. And he's had insights into my practice and my staff and my operation that I didn't have. I mean, he discovered things in terms of problems with people that were in my office, the way we operated. And I came to realize he was right. And so we made a whole series of changes. He did some recruiting for me. He found my office manager, which I was in dire need of a new office manager. And I tried to do this on my own in the past, and I thought I was a good judge of who would be a good manager, and I got burned over and over again. And Zach found me, my current manager, and she's a home run, absolutely fantastic. And Zach has put together for me an amazing team of people. And it started a process that was the first time I've ever done this, real formal and very well, tightly organized marketing initiative. And so, it started with a whole lot of discussion about who we are and what we do, what we stand for, what our goals are, our mission, our vision, all the stuff that I didn't really, frankly, understand the purpose of that. As a physician, this stuff was, kind of alien to me, but he and his team, we had a lot of phone calls, a lot of conference calls. It was pretty intense, and ultimately we put together all those missions and vision statements, and then everything started from there. Developed the marketing plan, and now we've come up with a whole new brand. The website is being completely redesigned. I had a website that I thought was fantastic. It was only a year old, and they showed me all the shortcomings of it and gave me a hint of what they were shooting for in terms of redoing my website. And I was like, that's fantastic. So we're doing that. I already had an internet marketing company doing my internet marketing. Well, I thought they were doing my internet marketing. I was paying them to do my internet marketing, but I was never really impressed with what was happening with it. So Zach's team took that over. The pay-per-click, the search engine optimization, the video search, and it just exploded. We hadn't even gotten to the other parts of the stuff we're working on, but that's just went off the charts. So we're doing that. It's made my life, so much more pleasant and so much easier. And so again, it was another step where I gained a lot of trust in Zach. But again, my engagement with him was pretty limited at the time. So we stayed in touch again, and we talked about some other possible initiatives, and ultimately we evolved into my engaging him on a broader scale for a full marketing initiative. And that's where we are today. Is that there was a lot more there than I had seen in these other relationships. And over a very short period of time, New Patient MD to me has become my partner, and they're right there in the room with me every day. And even when I'm busy doing my thing, I know they got my back, and I feel like I'm their only client, and their energy is completely there. And he taught me the value of marketing. He taught me how little I knew about it before. He taught me the value and the thought process behind, and the value of and the meaning of branding a business. And he taught me about how important it is and difficult to judge people, and to find the right people. I have a small practice, and it's a very tightly knit team that has to work together. And when that team's not right, it's not right. And he pointed those things out to me and helped me, put those pieces together, not only getting me better staff, but taught me how to make them work better together. I've learned a lot from him. Sharp, and they're focused, and it's so much more than just a consultant being hired to do something. Came up with new logos, and have initiated some new print ads. They did a lot of research on the media in the area and where the opportunities are. We did my print ads and handled the representatives from those publications. What else? They're searching for me for a salesperson, a representative to market my practice directly to other referring physicians. So that's going on. He had set a goal of, I think, 30% growth in 12 months was our goal. We met that goal in 3 months. What else can I say? The practice schedule is packed. If anything, we're having growing pains because it's hard to handle all the work. So right now I'm trying to slow Zach and his team down, which they're not letting me do. But the growth has been phenomenal. The phone is ringing off the hook, and the return on investment already has been phenomenal. I really am impressed with the people that he's put together. And as I understand it, they're from all parts of the country. I mean, they're all sitting in one office together. And I think that his flexibility with that has allowed him to find the right people, whether they live in, Kansas or Alabama or California, and he finds the right people to do the job. And so each person that he's brought on in his team has really New Patient MD to me has become a business partner. They are sort of my right hand, they're handling a huge part of my business that I can't handle by myself, and I can't handle, my staff can't handle. And it's the engine that's pushing the practice and the business forward. And I just know they really care about me and my practice and my business and our success. And it's much more than, just hiring somebody to do a job, a consultant or something like that. I just feel like they're just a part of the team. They make me feel like I'm their only client. I really feel that way. I feel like they do nothing else but work for me. Now, I know that's not true, but that's how it feels. Something that I hear is that people should be spending 10 or 15% of their revenue on marketing, and that always seemed very high to me. And I've learned that it's not, but you have to have the right people doing it. And I've thrown my money away, and I'm sure I didn't get the return on investment. But with New Patient MD, I have seen it return, and in a very short period of time. New Patient MDs, they're experts. I mean, they know, they not only love what they do, and they know what they're doing. I did my pay-per-click by myself once when I started. I built it myself. Okay, it was easy back then. It was probably 8-9 years ago, and I just went on Google and I did it, and it worked great for about 6 months, and then it dwindled and did nothing. So I hired a pay-per-click guy. It was a guy who I knew, was a new friend of a friend type of thing, and I paid him a few $100 a month, and absolutely zero happened. So I blew it up. I said, okay, I'm going to go to an internet marketing company. That's what they do, internet marketing. And they took over the SEO and the pay-per-click, and the pay-per-click was just dead. I mean, zero calls. I mean, I was just throwing money down the drain. So they were specialists, I guess, but they didn't know what they were doing in the specialty. And New Patient MD knows.